My favorite part of these Isaiah chapters that brought me a lot of joy was Isaiah 52, verse 9, which says, "Break forth unto joy, sing together, ye waste places of Jerusalem, for the Lord hath comforted his people, he hath redeemed Jerusalem." And this brings me a lot of joy because it talks about how Jesus Christ has redeemed everyone in the world through the atonement. And because of him, we are able to have joy in knowing that we can return back to Heavenly Father, and that anything that we've lost or anything that we struggle with will be corrected and perfected through him.
For Isaiah 53, I really like the description that Isaiah gives of Christ's atonement and sacrifice for us, especially in verses 5 and 6. He talks about how he was bruised for our iniquities, the chastisement of our peace was upon him. And then in verse 6, it goes on and talks about how we all have strayed away. And all of these verses kind of paint this picture that we need him, but a lot of times we don't reach out to him, or we're straying away from him. And feelings-wise, it makes it like hits home, because I know a lot of times I'm in that same boat where it's like I just don't quite have the full picture in my mind as I'm trying to live my life. And like, I think he does a really good job of painting the picture so that we can have something more than just words of Christ did this sacrifice, but instead it's your transgressions or my transgressions are on him. Like, because of that, or for them, he was hurt, he was bruised, he was chastised by men, sacrificed for us. And so I think that it really hits different from other descriptions, because that gives me something to like think about, to internalize. And then similar to what Isaiah immediately connects it to, our falling away from him. And it's interesting that he compares us to sheep and then Christ also like a lamb. So there's a connection, innate connection between us, but there's two different ways that a lamb can act or a sheep can act. One can be obedient and go like dumb to the shearers or to the slaughter, but other times we stray away. So becoming like Christ and using his atonement, it's also could be similar to becoming like that sheep that is submissive and ready to do what is necessary to then accept his sacrifice for us.
Okay, I really like these verses, and I like how they specifically talked about how not only do we receive blessings from being righteous and following the Lord, but we are able to get through those hard times in life and able to withstand the storms of the world. For me personally, I definitely feel like there's a difference between when I'm going through a hard time and I'm not close to the Savior, I'm not close with the Lord, and how much harder it is than when I rely on the Lord and have that relationship. Specifically, I remember when I was in high school, in my junior and senior year, I was really struggling, and I often felt alone in like situations because I felt like I was really trying to stay on that right path, and I felt really alone because I felt like everyone around me was just doing their own way, going their own way in life. And so it was a really lonely time, but it made me have to draw closer to the Lord. And as I built that relationship with him, and as I really like tried to follow him and be righteous, I was able to get through it. And it wasn't easy. Just because we're righteous, just because we are making the right decision, doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it makes it possible. It makes it easier. And I felt times in my life where I haven't been as close to the Lord. And sometimes when you are going through hard times, you can shut your heart off to the Lord, and you can become hard-hearted. And that's something I've also dealt with a lot as I've gone through hard times, is definitely having my heart be hardened. And so one thing that I try to pray for every day is to have a softening of heart, and to allow the Lord in, especially during those hard times when it can be easy to kind of shut out everyone, including the Lord, including our Savior. But he makes that promise to us that as we are righteous, he can help us through any trial, any hard time. And I think that's just beautiful. So